Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel, and we got another recap review, Married at First Sight, Season 13, Episode 9. And we're going to talk about listening and love today. So before we jump into this video, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. If you like the video, smash the like button and drop a comment down below. So our 5 couples enter their 3rd week of marriage. One couple we will talk about contemplate using the L word, while the other 4 do anything they can to ignite a fire between them. So just when we think we got it all figured out of who's definitely going to get a divorce, things definitely keep evolving. And I mean, to be honest, I don't have high hopes for most of the couples this season, but I'm hoping that I'm wrong because I genuinely, of course, want things to work if possible. So this episode definitely shows the reason why this show will always keep you guessing. Anyone who has been a fan of the show knows all of the ups and downs that begin to start once the newlyweds move in together, but no one has completely given up yet. And given that this has happened many times in previous seasons, things might not be so bad. So without further ado, let's jump into this recap. Okay, first up is Brett and Ryan. So it's looking like Brett is starting to grow deeper feelings for Ryan. And unfortunately for her, he doesn't feel the same way, it looks like. In the past, he has been known to fall in love quickly. And I think he even said 24 hours, or I think that was his sister that said in a highlight that we saw. But instead of falling into old habits, he's struggling to find even a spark with this girl. Later on, we see that they kind of share some details about their past relationships and what they need for the marriage to progress. Ryan admits he feels he's missed opportunities by waiting too long to return his partner's affection. And, I don't know what to think about Mr. Ryan. I mean, Ryan just seems completely uninterested in just about everything. Now, Brett speaks to some of the other couples about Ryan's revelation about not feeling a spark with her. She's advised to tell him that, he has to work for it in order for it to happen. And that's the truth. I mean, love is a commitment. It's not just so-called fantasy feeling or, even Ryan has some type of fantasy feeling about how things should happen. I mean, did he just forget he decided to marry a complete stranger? That was a choice. And in most cases, you're not going to have an instant connection. That's the purpose of trusting the process and getting to know somebody and trying to find some common ground. So, I mean, it was really defeating because they played that little Jenga game that Brett set up, and she had all these little cute quotes describing who he is. And he was reading them, and he was just like, okay, all right. And, it's like, Brett, come on. To me, he looks checked out. I think he's just going on with the flow. And at the same time, Brett's feelings are getting deeper for this guy. But I'm kind of glad he spoke up and said that because now she know where he's standing. So now she has to kind of keep an eye on what's going to happen in this situation with the two of them because it's not looking good at all. So, this is something that's going to happen with a couple of folks we're going to talk about tonight. But, Ryan was that first one. I don't see high hopes for these two. So let's talk about Mikayla and Zach. So they are still struggling to get on the same page since they had that big fight. He's even resorted to staying at his own apartment alone rather than being in the same house with his wife. He finally did come back to speak to her, but he tried to explain himself by telling some kind of confusing story. Now, basically, he wants to change the way they communicate, and Zach feels like his wife is very confrontational and immature in the way she handles problems. Now, honestly, I think they both need to learn how to communicate. I mean, Mikayla definitely acts out when she's hurt. But then again, it seems like he does too. He's just not verbal with his, like she is. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. Zach seems to be a little too sensitive to handle a relationship with someone with such a strong personality. But after such a tense exchange, they both decide that they are willing to try to do what's necessary to improve the marriage. Now, Mikayla and Zach, they go out for dinner for a kind of change of scenery after finally making up. They both reveal some very interesting details about their past. Now, I would have never guessed that neither of them have ever been in love. Now, Zach kind of invoked Jose when, he goes over the checklist of everything he wants in a woman. Now, although Mikayla is still on guard, she definitely seems to be more calm and open, to her husband. Now, Zach organizes a virtual cooking class for he and Mikayla, to learn to make shrimp scampi. Now, it turns out neither of them know how to cook, though. Now, and I mean cook at all. Now, they even had trouble boiling water, really? Somehow, it seems like they were able to end the night with the product that I guess was edible. But it was nice to see them actually getting along and smiling together. But, we'll definitely see how that lasts. So, with these two, I honestly think that because of both of them having past traumas, they obviously need to have some type of counseling or sit down and try to deal with that, even if it's marital counseling, because they react to everything. Both of them. She reacts the way that she does, which is a little abrasive, and so does he. So in order for them to move forward, they got to figure out how they got to navigate. They shouldn't have to tiptoe around each other to worry about whether or not they're going to step on an eggshell and somebody's going to crack with their feelings. So I don't know. We'll see how long it's going to last between Mikayla and Zach. Okay, let's talk about Johnny and Bao. Now, opposite of Mikayla and Zach, Bao is definitely showing off her cooking skills when she decides to make dinner for Johnny. Now, the meal kind of turns sour when she inquires about him, saying he may not be ready for marriage. Now, Johnny becomes defensive. He got frustrated when he, feels that his wife is making assumptions about his feelings. He also admitted that although he doesn't feel a spark right now, he wants to find one with her. Johnny, you can't tell a woman that if you were dating, you would be gone and you don't feel chemistry and expect them not to feel a way about it. But I gotta say, he was open and honest about it. And she listened. Now, it seems like he enjoyed the nice dinner, but, he kind of ignored the elephant in the room. Now, later we saw that Johnny and Bao decided to do some homework that the experts had gave them about each other, and the questions challenge that had them to kind of dig deep and communicate their true feelings. Now, all of the talk about intimacy must have really got them worked up, because at the end of the night, they ended it early and run straight to the bedroom. Now, they didn't even have the pillow between them anymore. They got rid of that pillow barrier between them. Now, that's definitely progress. And that credit, I think, maybe go to Bao, because most women would have shut down after hearing Johnny's concerns. And instead of pushing her away, it kind of seemed to made her want to try even harder. So Bao won some major brownie points with Johnny when she, of course, surprised him again with 3 of his favorite things on Friday night. So he came home to beer, fried chicken, bar games, and they even confessed to consummating their marriage the night before. Bao agrees to do whatever her husband wants to do in the bedroom if she loses the dart game. Now, give her a side eye on that one. Well, these two just didn't take a step forward. They actually made leaps and bounds. And hopefully, they'll continue having fun together and don't regret their decision to be intimate. Johnny organizes a date night at home with painting and champagne, but when Bao begins to become so overly focused, more on having a perfect picture than just enjoying the moment, he begins to get frustrated again. And I'm like, Johnny, just relax. Just relax. He decides to just go with the flow rather than shut down, which was great. And to be honest, Johnny is going to have to learn to accept that his wife has a very analytical personality. He would either have to embrace her little quirks, or he can let them drive him crazy by getting in his head. And that's the thing about him. At least he's trying. These two, I really like the progress that they made, because last week I didn't know what to expect, where they were gonna go from here. But it's nice to see that they both are trying, and they've made some progress. So we'll see what happened to these two. But Johnny got to get out of his head, And I'm glad that Bao is willing to listen. I mean, she could have shut down, but she was definitely willing to listen to see what she can do to help make this marriage work. So kudos to them this week. Okay, up next, Mikayla and Gil. And it was also their turn to they're forced to answer some difficult questions about intimacy as well. I don't understand this couple. It seems more like I'm getting total friend and roommate vibes. Gil isn't in love yet, but he can see himself going in that direction. Now, I don't think that there's going to be any type of kisses or anything going on unless they're having some deep conversations or kissing behind the scenes. I don't get it. Their conversations seems kind of superficial. Gil even tries to give her a foot massage as a romantic gesture. I wish I was on the receiving end of that with the foot massage, and the way he was looking while giving that foot massage, it would have been over before it began. That's just me. Instead, Miss Mikayla, relaxing and enjoying that moment, she complains the entire time, and she was into her phone. I mean, this man obviously have patience of a saint. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to remain so optimistic. Now, when Mikayla says that she wants a husband who would be a brunch partner, Gil was like, okay, you know what? I need to question your intentions. And I don't blame him. He makes it clear that he needs to feel wanted as a man. He doesn't want to feel like he's just a prop that is being used to fulfill some type of fantasy in her head. And instead of kind of giving him some reassurance or anything, she just laughed at him and said, I just really want a brunch husband. I'm like, you want this man, in order for you to feel something for somebody, you need them to see the work and not the words. This man is putting in work. Now, whether it's superficial or not, but he's trying with you. He has patience. He's doing things, and it's not clicking. I don't think this girl is into him. Anyway, these two have some definite, huge fundamental differences. Unless Mikayla is willing to actually start taking her relationship seriously, I don't see how any of this could work with these two. I mean, the way that it's being presented is like Mikayla is coming off as this very absorbed, shall I say self-absorbed. And it's just not cute, And I mean, I would think that a lot of folks would want to be with him. But this ain't going nowhere. I don't even want to give it 0 stars at this point. Okay, and then last but not least, let's talk about Rachel and Jose. Or Rose, as Rachel called it. So they decided to relax and do some goat yoga. Now, I don't know how much actual yoga they did, but at least they had fun with the goats. Now, later they talk more about their past and their future. Jose drops a bomb when he claims he has never been in love. And Rachel is shocked because he has been in a long-term relationship that lasts for years. And I think the relationship was for 4 years, and she had kids. Now, she began to question, will he be slow to fall in love with her? Rachel isn't the only one who has some concerns, because Jose inquires about the circumstances behind her cheating on an ex-boyfriend, which is that Have I Ever game that they played in a previous episode. And that's when that came out. He wondered if she could be capable of making the same mistake again. Now, Rachel and Rose host their first Married at First Sight barbecue for all of the couples. She admitted to some of the other ladies that her husband has a hard time listening. And but despite his faults, she feels that she could be on the verge of falling in love with Jose. Well, those feelings definitely must have progressed quickly because Rachel tells Jose she loves him and he returned the sentiment. So I would say out of all of the 5 couples tonight, they're the ones that really did, I would say, exceptionally well this week. I would give Val and Johnny second place. But yeah, Jose need to do a little bit more listening and talking. That man could talk his butt off, and he like to show everything that he has accomplished. And listen, I get it. It's a lot of hard work to do all the things that he's done. But sometimes listen to other people and see what they got to say too. I mean, they want to, especially your wife, she want to know that you hear her and that you are paying attention. I do have to mention a couple of things that stuck out was the hentai sex thing that Johnny was talking about that he used to watch when he was a kid. I thought that was hilarious. But obviously that was a turn on because it led him to the bedroom. And then Mirla talking about when she went to the barbecue that she'll never be back at their house again because it's in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, girl, please. Everything is wrong about it. Why did you do this situation if you're going to criticize everything? Everything. So I don't, like I say, when I talked about that couple, I don't see them going anywhere. So, you know, I thought it was a pretty good episode compared to, it was more positives than negatives in this episode because it looked like everybody tried to work together, you know, to try to figure out the situation. I don't know about Brett and Ryan. I think Brett took steps back. He's distancing himself because I think he realized that this is not a person that he's really into. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section about this particular episode, about the couples. Where do you think they're going? You know, have your mind changed about any of the couples? Who do you think have the best shot of getting married? Who's the most improved couple at this point? Let me know what you think. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.